Yo, it's L. Alright, so today's video is going to be really different than my usual stuff. I'm not going to be talking about a game that I like or a game series. I'm not going to be playing anything. There's not going to be any cuts. There's not going to be any edits. It's just going to be straight, just me rambling to the camera. So I just want to talk about Starfield, how it went from a game that I was really hyped for to a game that I honestly forgot was coming out. When I was filming my Metal Gear video, which if you haven't seen, go see it. It's really funny. You know, why not? You got time. You're watching this. Yeah, go watch the other video after this. But yeah, I was filming it with my friend Phil. And I remember at one point he asked me, when is Starfield coming out? And I had forgotten. Like, I was like, oh, I don't know. I think next year or something. I'm filming this video, today's September 2nd? Yeah. So it comes out in 4 days, and we filmed that Metal Gear video at this point 3 weeks ago, something like that, 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, whatever. And it's just, yeah, like, this was a game where I was super hyped for, and then I forgot that it was coming out, and there's a few factors that sort of led to that. I just also want to say at the top of this video, I don't think Starfield is going to be a terrible game, and I do not want it to be a terrible game. I want this to be a home run for Bethesda. I'm just talking about, just from my perspective, how I just went from like one end to the other, pretty much. So, when I was a kid, I played the first Elder Scrolls game. At the time, I didn't really know what it was, and it wasn't until I learned more about the Elder Scrolls series that I was like, oh, that was the first game. But Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, oh God, I loved that game. Like, even now, I think I still have it. I don't know if I bought it on Steam when I got this computer or not, but I played Oblivion, like, last year, just replayed it. That was another game that I played as a kid a lot. And Skyrim, oh man, I think on PS3 I got the Platinum Trophy in Skyrim. Same with Fallout 3 and I think New Vegas. But yeah, see, Skyrim 2, that was a game where I remember I was hesitant at first. I didn't think it would be, I didn't know that it was going to be as big as it was, but I remember people telling me, like, yeah, you could fight dragons and you see them flying around and stuff, and I just thought, given the game engine that Bethesda's using, because, like, every game is just, like, the same, like, Fallout and Elder Scrolls, it's the same game engine, they just make tweaks to it, and it's like, get over it, just use a new engine, guys, but yeah, I didn't think they could pull it off, and I was wrong. They clearly proved me wrong, and I loved Skyrim. I'm glad that it worked out, and I'm hoping that, you know, Starfield is something where Bethesda can say, okay, we got Fallout, we got Elder Scrolls, we got Starfield, and hopefully it grows into, like, a franchise for them. Like, hopefully it does that well and everything. But I was hesitant about Skyrim. Fallout 3, I had a friend in high school, whenever we would walk home, because we lived, like, close to each other, there was some days where he would tell me about Fallout 1 and 2, but I remember him always saying, like, the gameplay hasn't aged that well, so just watch other people play it, or the cinematics, the story, and whatever. But I remember watching him play Fallout 3, and I'm not really into shooters, but something about Fallout 3, I was like, this looks really cool, and he showed me, like, okay, yeah, you get, like, these perks, you level up, you have stats. I was like, oh, okay, like, I prefer RPGs over shooters. And I was like, oh, like, it's basically an RPG game, but you have guns. Again, this was in high school, so I couldn't articulate to the best of my abilities, but I was like, oh, okay, this is really cool. Fallout 3 is still my favorite Fallout game. I think Fallout New Vegas, out of at least, like, the Bethesda era of Fallout, I think New Vegas is the best one. But Fallout 4, for me, felt like... Fallout 4 felt as if Bethesda got somebody else to make a Fallout game. which is weird because they did that with New Vegas, and arguably it was better than the Fallout that they made prior to that. But for like, whenever you play Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, there are certain factions that I interact with, certain missions, storylines that I like to just replay through. You know, sometimes take different paths and whatnot, but I liked parts of the narratives, the stories. I liked at the end of the game how, depending what you do on certain side missions or certain factions, it'll say like, hey, now that you beat the game, this is what's going to happen to them afterwards. Like, gives you a bit of sense of closure. But Fallout 4 didn't have that. There's like, I think like 3 endings, maybe 4. And they don't talk about like any of the other side missions or anything that you did. And for me, that took something away from the experience. It just felt like, you know, well, why did I spend my time helping these people out or doing this, doing that, if there's no like sense of closure, if there's no follow-up? It's just, I don't, like, narratively speaking, it felt like it had no purpose. Where, again, Fallout 3, New Vegas, it's just like, oh, you helped the boomers, or, oh, what were those people called? I forgot what they were called in New Vegas. They were like a little jail gang, and the powder gangers, I think that, I make this, powder gangers, because they throw dynamite. But yeah, just stuff like that where it's just like, okay, if it all felt as if it's like Marvel, it's all connected, that there was a huge like narrative, and you know, even though one faction might be removed from like the main story, just getting the closure and seeing the cutscenes at the end, it just gave you a sense that it's like, okay, your whole journey, like everything just felt connected. But Fallout 4 just felt more like, well, we have to make a Fallout game, we'll just do this. And I didn't really like the leveling system either. And it's a game that I can't really replay. Like, there's been times where I'll pick it up and I'm like, what do I do? I don't really like any of the missions. I don't really like the story. There's not much to do, and like, I didn't like the leveling system. It's just, Fallout 4 to me felt as if Bethesda was sort of losing a bit of its magic. And then Fallout 76 came out. And I know in my Other Gamer video, I sort of joked about it and stuff, but what happened with that game? Like, it came out, it was a mess, nothing but problems, nothing but bugs. The pre-order items, like, I know I talked about it, but like, the mold helmet, it's a helmet that had mold in it. It's just like, oh. Now, I don't know how much of it has to do with ZeniMax, which is, I think, their parent company, or like the higher ups at Bethesda. I know there's been reports and like some YouTube channels have covered it about like some of the drama. I think there's like some people didn't want to work on it, whatever, but I don't really know about all the behind the scenes stuff. Maybe I should have looked it up before making this video, but it's like, who cares? Like, I don't have time to do that. I gotta look up like the history of Fallout 76, because at the end of the day, you release a terrible game. Like, I have a friend who plays it and he's just like, hey, it's playable now, but it's like, I don't want to pay money for it because I don't want to support that. And on a side note, like, that's something that I find really frustrating about modern gaming, is how low expectations, maybe not expectations, but it's just like the quality of games that the average gamer accepts is like, why? Like, stop giving your money to these publishers, especially like they're making like EA, Ubisoft, they make millions, billions, and it's like, you can afford to pay people to test the game out. You can do quality control. Like, I don't know. Like, I have a friend, he buys like every Pokemon game. Like, I have my friends who are gamers, they don't really step outside of their franchises. It's like, oh, new Pokemon game comes out, and like, I forgot which ones it was, but they were like really buggy and stuff, and it's like, Pokemon makes so much money. It's like, it's embarrassing when you release an unfinished game, but what makes it worse is gamers don't care. It's like, oh, no, it has this name on it, so I have to get it day one, and I have to spend all the money to get all the like the battle passes and the pre-order stuff. And it's like, man, like AAA studios releasing terrible games is sort of ruining the gaming industry, but then gamers accepting that is also ruining it. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's like Fallout 76 sort of took a lot of the wind out of my sails, or whatever the expression is, for Starfield, because again, I don't know how much of it, the backstage, whether it's the shareholders, the publishers, whatever, it's like, it's still, for me, it's still Bethesda. I still relate the quality of that game to like the company. So that made me a bit more hesitant about Starfield. Just like the scope of it was sort of like with Skyrim, where it sounded really ambitious, and I didn't think they could pull it off. They proved me wrong, and again, it's not that I'm hoping this game fails or anything, like, not necessarily that they proved me wrong, but I'm just vigilant because of how Bethesda has been recently, as well as just a state of the video game industry, and I want it to be good. Like, I'm not going to buy it day one, and it's even a year ago, if maybe even 2 years ago, like, if I could have pre-ordered it, I probably would have. But yeah, like, now I'm just not really excited for it. I want it to do well, but this is a game that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. I'm going to just keep watching videos, even gameplay. I don't think any of my friends are going to buy it, which is unfortunate, because it would have given me like a way to just test it out for free. But yeah, it's like, if it's not Pokemon or like EA games or Ubisoft games, most of my gamer friends aren't gonna play them. So it is what it is. But yeah, like, Nintendo might be the only first party studio where I actually pre-order games, because they care about the quality of stuff they put out, whether you like it or not. It's like, you have to admit, at least Nintendo, first party Nintendo games, like, they do care. They do put effort into it. They're not going to release something and spend like 2 to 3 months getting it to work, like Fallout 76 or No Man's Sky. But yeah, also, when I was thinking about doing this video at the time, like, there wasn't really any information about Starfield. There were a few, like, of the bigger gaming websites and stuff being like, yeah, it's good, but I'd rather listen to just a YouTuber that I watch talk about the game, like, depending on the YouTuber, but at least, like, it's a personality that I know, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, well, I know that this YouTuber, they may not like this type of game, so it would be interesting to get their perspective on it. Or like Fudge Muppet, like, they cover Fallout stuff, Elder Scrolls stuff, so it's like, okay, I want to see what they have to say about it. And again, like, I hope this game is good. I did see there was, like, the way the leveling system works. I could be wrong, but I think from what I saw, it's like you have to do little side missions almost, like defeat this many enemies or this type of enemy this many times. And I don't really like that. I'm just a fan of, you get X amount of experience, then you level up. It's an old gaming leveling system, but I don't know. It's the most efficient. It works the best. And I'm not saying because I don't really like the leveling system is the reason why I'm not getting the game. I'm not saying that at all. But yeah, it's just, again, just the way Bethesda was with the release and the launch of Fallout 76, the quality of Fallout 4, it just makes me more hesitant. And again, just a state of the gaming industry in general. It's like, if it comes out and it's terrible, I don't think people are really going to say that for the most part. They're going to be like, oh, well, it's just a Bethesda game, or, oh, you know, still like a AAA game or whatever. But I just want it to succeed. I'm really vigilant about this game. Like, I don't want it to be bad. I want Bethesda to do well. I want this game to do well. Hopefully it turns into a franchise or whatever, but I'm not excited for it, but I'm also not not going to get it. It's not like I'm at the point where, like, it's not, I'm not on a spectrum of extremes where it's like, love it, going to buy it, or hate it, not going to buy it. Like, I'm leaning more towards I want to get it, but yeah, like I was saying, just there's a bunch of reasons why I'm sort of hesitant to just buy it. Plus, I've just been busy with the channel. Baldur's Gate 3. I want to do a video on Baldur's Gate 3. Just, it's so much fun. But yeah, Starfield. Honestly, we're 4 days out from release. I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to sell. Not necessarily because of just the quality of the game, but just because it's a AAA game. It's a new thing. And everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be Fallout in space. I hope not. Only because it's like, let Fallout be Fallout. Let Starfield be Starfield. Like, what are we doing as gamers if we're just asking for this game to be another game, but in a different setting? Like, I know there's a bit more nuance to it, but it's like, I don't want it to be Fallout in space. I don't... Because then it's like, why don't I just play Fallout? Like, oh, but it's not in space. It's like, I don't know, I'll play it at night and pretend I'm on another planet. But yeah, Starfield, I hope it does well. There's probably not going to be a demo. I don't know if how I'm going to play the game. I guess I'd have no choice but to buy it to play it, but maybe I'll wait until it's on sale or something. But you know what? Again, this is a video game that I'm going to be following. I'm going to be watching a lot of gameplay stuff, a lot of people talking about it. I'm very curious about the game, and I am interested in it, but I'm not... like, the hype is gone for me, and it's not even out yet, which is a bit unfortunate. But, yeah, this video is getting a bit long. I don't want to turn it into rambling or anything. I just sort of wanted to talk about how I went from... yeah, I can't wait for this game to... I'm going to wait until I'm ready to play it. If, who knows, maybe everything I watch, it's just not for me, which would be a bit unfortunate. Maybe, you know, maybe going forward, you're going to see a divide in Bethesda fans where there's just like, they just like all their games, and some people where it's like, oh, you know, I only stick to this. I only stick to the Elder Scrolls flavor of products, or the Fallout flavor of products. But it's going to be interesting to see. I don't want this game to win Game of the Year. I'm worried that it will, just because it looks like every Western dev hates Baldur's Gate 3. But, I mean, Baldur's Gate 3, I'm only in Act 1. You can roast me, you can hate me for what I'm about to say, but Baldur's Gate 3 is better than Tears of the Kingdom. That's right, I said it. I'll say it again. Baldur's Gate 3, so far, even to me, Act 1, better than Tears of the Kingdom. And I said that, and it's recorded, so it is what it is. But Starfield, gonna wait, gonna see what it's like. Hopefully it's good, hopefully it's great. Hopefully it's a game where, I don't know, let's just say a year from now I release a video where I just laugh at how dumb I am in this video. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.